Hello, we've got some hot summer predictions for some hot Nagoya sumo, 'cause it's really hot. Electrolyte throw!
Roll the salt, get in the ring. Welcome to the Dohyo.
Hello and welcome to the Dohyo here on MrJWags channel. Yes, we are getting ready for a hot summer basho in Nagoya, 'cause it is very hot and it is summer. Some of you may be asking, well, why are you wearing flannel? Number one, consistency. Number two, no pants. Now in this episode, we may not be going into quite as much depth as we normally go to in a predictions episode, but that is because we have just launched two amazing, very full episodes full of my opinions about the Banzuke. We have the updated charts of my tiers, where we put all of the sumo wrestlers and makauchi, or at least the ones I think are going to hang around for a bit, into tiers. And we also have our who will be our next Ozeki update, which we just dropped a couple days ago. So if you feel this episode is a little bit lean on JWags opinions, check those two out, you'll love them. Before we get started with our bolder predictions, we have to announce some new shikona. Yes, Ozeki Kiribayama will now be known as Kirishima, the same Ozeki name as his stable master when he was an Ozeki. So this is sort of a promotion into a legacy name. So we will all look forward to seeing Ozeki Kirishima on the Dohyo. And Makushita and Juryo Phenom Ochiai is now known as Haku Oho. That's right. He is in the Miyagi-no stable with Hakuho, so he has been given a new, very similar name to the fighting name of his Oyakata. I am very excited about what Ochiai, now Haku Oho, will be able to do in the near future. We'll talk about him in a second. Now, when I figure out my sort of sumo predictions for a tournament, it's not like I go through each single person on the Banzuke and I'm like, this person will get 7 wins, this person will get 8 wins, then I add them all up and make sure everything works out. What I do is I look through the Banzuke, I find the wrestlers I think are going to have exceptional tournaments, either for good or bad, and I construct a narrative around those, and I pick the narrative I think is most likely to happen. Now, sometimes these narratives aren't that exciting, but I do it because I want to be as accurate as possible on these predictions. Now, this one coming up feels like there could be a lot of things going on, so I have decided to choose chaos. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that I think that these aren't going to happen and I'm just being crazy. I think this is the thing that's going to happen, but normally when I do predictions, I have about a 50-50 chance, usually I think, about the thing I have predicted largely coming true, with maybe a few specifics being wrong. However, in this upcoming Nagoya tournament, I see a lot of ways the path could go. Very, very divergent paths with very, very different endings. This tournament has a lot riding on it for a lot of people. So every single decision I make is sort of going to build on the previous decisions I have made for how the tournament is going to go. So instead of being about like, yeah, I think these predictions are about 50-50 likely to happen, this one may be more like 30% likely to happen, but I still think it is the most likely of all of the stories to happen. Cool. My first bold prediction, I believe that Ozeki Takakeisho will go Kyujo. I am basing this on a history of him going Kyujo in the Nagoya tournament. I mentioned this a few episodes ago, but yes, since he has become an Ozeki, every single Nagoya tournament has ended in a Kyujo for him, except the very last one. I'm afraid he is going to revert back to form this time. Now, he's been Kataban before, he's gotten that 8-win mark, just getting over the finish line to stay an Ozeki, and then, usually, after he clears Kataban, that next tournament is either he wins a championship or like gets very, very close, or he goes Kyujo. I think this one's going to be a Kyujo. My bolder prediction, Yokozuna Terunofuji will also go Kyujo. There have been reports that his back has been acting up, a slipped disc has been mentioned here and there. Now, for a person whose job it is to throw large, heavy men outside of a ring, that is a very, very bad injury to have. And now, especially since Terunofuji has just won the last tournament, I feel like he has bought himself a little bit more Kyujo time should he need it. So, if the first week does not look very good for Terunofuji, I expect him to get out with the quickness. Now, of all the scenarios I ran about this tournament, Terunofuji winning had a number of them in those scenarios, but this tournament, I just don't see him pulling it off. And for those of you who watched the updated Ozeki rankings episode, please check it out. It's a good one. You'll notice that all of the current Sekiwake who are Ozeki hopefuls have losing records against Takakeisho and Terunofuji. So I think that their absence is going to help all three of our Sekiwake have a little bit better chance to get that Ozeki rank. That takes us to our next bold prediction. I believe every healthy member of the Sanyaku will get their Kachikoshi. Even Abi. Yeah, I think we are at the point where the Sanyaku is largely the people who deserve to be here, with the exception of some young hotness working their way up and, well, us in Oyama. And while they're not all going to be in Yusho contention, I do expect all of them to get their 8. My bolder prediction, we are going to have at least 2 new Ozeki after this tournament. Like I said, the absence of Terunofuji and Takakeisho is only going to help these Sekiwake, who have historically not done too well against them. So I see all of them getting double-digit wins in this tournament, and a couple of them getting up to that 12-11 mark and getting their 33 wins and promoted up. But yes, if you're looking for Sekiwake details, check out the last episode. Now it's time for our recurring segment, 3 Up, 3 Down, where I take 3 wrestlers I think are a little bit overranked and are not going to do very well, and 3 wrestlers I think are underranked and are going to do very well on the current Banzake, and predict them to you now. Our first down, unfortunately, is channel favorite Nishikigi. He's all the way up at the very highest Maegashira slot, Maegashira 1 East. It is his highest ranking ever, and yeah, I don't think this is going to be the start of a new Nishikigi renaissance. He did manage to finish the last tournament on a huge winning streak against some Sanyaku regulars, but I just don't think that's going to carry over this time. The first reason I say that is because I think he's not going to surprise anyone this time. I think now that he's had an excellent finish to the last tournament, people are going to be going and looking to make sure they do not lose to Nishikigi. And second of all, it's just the way the scheduling works out. When you are a Maegashira 1, you tend to face the Yokozuna and Ozekis early in the process. So, even though I expect both of them to go Kyujo, there's still a very good chance Nishikigi will have to face Terunofuji and Takakeisho, even if they go Kyujo, because he's probably going to face them on the first 2 days. Second on the down list, Maegashira 5 East, Hirado Umi, another channel favorite. Now, I love my little Buddha, but he's also at a career high rank. He's right there on the joy line, so if we do start getting some Kyujo above him, he's going to have to start facing some Sanyaku regulars. Now, he did very well in the last tournament, but when he started getting aggressively promoted, he did not do as well. He's still young, he's a little undersized. I think we will be reaching his sort of first Makauchi ceiling in this tournament. And last on the down list, Maegashira 16 Bushozan. Yes, he just came back up from Juryo again, and he's right there at the bottom of the Bansuke with not much margin for error, surrounded by a whole bunch of veterans who do not want to get demoted. I mean, guys like Endo, Ryuden, Aoyama. I think all of these guys, if they are anywhere near regular health, are going to be able to take care of Bushozan. In baseball, there's a term called the 4A player, where it's a player who's too good for AAA, but not quite good enough to stick in the majors. I feel like that is a very apt description of Bushozan. I don't see him staying in Makauchi for any length of time. And now for the 3 up. Heading off the list, Takayasu at Maegashira 7. Now, he's been having a very inconsistent year or so, as I've mentioned in the last 2 episodes. But yeah, it seems like for the past year and a half, either he goes Kyujo or he gets a Jun Yusho. Well, he's down at Maegashira 7. He shouldn't be facing all of the Sanyaku. So if he is in regular order, good health, I would expect 10 wins from him down here. Why do I say that? The last time he was down here and healthy, he got 10 wins. And yeah, there's always that chance he could pull that inside straight and work his way into Yusho contention. Next on the up list, Maegashira 10 Kinbozan. Well, okay, he definitely hit his first ceiling mark in the last tournament, got a 4 and 11, got bumped down. He's now down here in the double-digit Maegashira range. I think he is going to have a much easier time down here. I expect him to get a Kachikoshi, if not over 10 wins down here. Look for a rebound from Kinbozan. And last for the ups, Maegashira 17 West, Haku Oho. Yes, I'm going with the rookie. Okay, now I know I just said that Bushozan's up there surrounded by all these hungry veterans who don't want to get demoted. Well, I happen to think that the former Ochiai, now Haku Oho, is a much better wrestler than Bushozan. So I expect him to roll in here. He got a 14-1 in Juryo last tournament. I expect him to get at least 10 wins this tournament. At the bare minimum, he gets his Kachikoshi. I expect huge things out of this young man, and as long as he stays healthy, I expect to see him in the Sanyaku early next year. And now it's time for another recurring segment, Which Way We Going? It's where we look at wrestlers who I think this tournament is going to tell us a lot about which way they are headed in their sumo journey up or down the Banzake. And we're starting off with Maegashira 6, Hokuseiho. Okay, now he had an amazing first half of the last tournament and a much less amazing second half of the last tournament. I think a lot of this has to do with his age. He's 21. He's still figuring out his body and how it will last over a 15-day tournament against the best in the world. He's still figuring out, does he need a plan B other than being huge? And I think he does. He's running into a bit of the same problem Ichinojo used to run into, where he'd dominate in the first half of the basho, using a lot of just sort of like ham python sumo, where he just sort of squeezes you till you get tired. But that has to be incredibly tiring on you if you are the one inflicting the ham python. So this tournament, he's going to be facing better and more experienced wrestlers. I don't think he's going to be facing a whole lot of Sanyaku, but I think he has to start developing that plan B, and we will start seeing it this tournament. But if he doesn't, will the veterans be able to sort of figure out this giant wrestler and be able to move him out of the ring with any consistency in the first week? Where will Hokuseiho's first ceiling be? Next, also Maegashira 6, Oho. Another young man. He's 23, 2 years older than Hokuseiho, and he hasn't been quite as successful. He's been very inconsistent in the past few tournaments. However, last tournament did very well. He's now back up into the upper Maegashira ranks. Last time he was up here, didn't do so well. Let's hope this is an actual leap for him, and he'll be able to sort of hang out up in the high Maegashira ranks. Maybe not quite a Joy regular yet, but if he can just hang out up here in the sub-Joy area, I think that's a big jump for him. Remember, 23, he's got a lot of room to grow. And the last on the Which Way We Goin', Maegashira 7, Tamawashi. Oh, okay. So, he's gotten 2 Makekoshi in a row. And normally, that wouldn't bother me about most wrestlers. But first of all, this is very rare for Tamawashi. And second of all, Tamawashi is the oldest guy in the top division. So, he has a very short leash on sort of how far he has to go before he may not be coming back. Now, the last time he got 2 Makekoshi in a row, he came back at Maegashira 10 with 11 wins. Let's see if this tournament he's got another bump up in him, this time from Maegashira 7. I'm not entirely optimistic, but I am hopeful. All right, we're getting to the last few predictions here. My next bold prediction is that new Ozeki Kirishima will get a winning record, but he will not be in Yusho contention on the last day. I think he is going to have a bit of the Ozeki hangover. It is reasonably rare for a Sekiwake to make Ozeki and then immediately win the tournament. It's only happened twice in the last 20 years, and the wrestlers who did it, Terunofuji on his second Ozeki run when he was already clearly the best guy in the division, and young Hakuho, who I'm not sure what he did after that, but might have been good. The bolder prediction, the Jun Yusho will go to a former Ozeki. Now the easy choice here, and the likely choice, is Asanoyama. He's at Maegashira 4. I expect him to do well, double-digit wins. Can he get up to the 12 mark? Again, I think he can. But let us not forget about Shodai and Matakayumi down there at Maegashira 2. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if one of them could pull out a throwback basho here and get into Yusho contention. Matakayumi looks a little bit closer than Shodai based on recent history, but we will see. And of course, the dark horse, as I already mentioned, Takayasu. Can he pull the inside straight and pull out 12 wins? All right, we're here. We're at the Yusho picks. My bold prediction is that the Juryo Yusho will go to Juryo 1, Atami Fuji. As we all remember, Atami Fuji got a 13-2 in the last tournament from Juryo 8. I expected him to get promoted up to Makauchi. Did not happen. This is a very, very rare event. In all of sumo history, at least what I can find on Sumo Reference, we have only had one other case in all of sumo history where a 13-2 at Juryo 8 did not get promoted up to Makauchi. So a bit of sumo history is happening right here. I think Atami Fuji is more than ready to come back to Makauchi. I think he's going to have a little bit of an edge on him, and I easily expect double-digit wins and hopefully the Juryo Yusho. Go get him, Atami Fuji. And the bolder prediction, Hoshoryu Yusho and Ozeki promotion. Okay, so Hoshoryu needs 12 wins to get an Ozeki promotion. He's the youngest of all of the Sekiwake. If you look back to the Ozeki rankings episode, he has the highest win percentage against the people in the Sanyaku, and like I said, youngest. Remember, we're going to be in Nagoya. It's going to be very, very hot there. Perhaps a younger wrestler will have a little bit more stamina, be able to adapt a little bit better to the heat than some of the older and heavier wrestlers. And if we look at his Sanyaku journey over the past 8 tournaments, if you look at it, it sort of goes in chunks. He's had 4 where he was sort of at 8 and 9. And then if you look at his previous 4 tournaments, he's been in double digits, all except the one tournament he got hurt. And then he went Kyujo and still came back and managed to get his Kachikoshi on a controversial hair pull call. But that doesn't matter, he still got the 8. Now, I think Daisho's probably going to get to his 11. Wakamoto Haru may get to 12. It would be his best tournament in Makauchi ever. He's the one I'm sort of not quite as confident about, but we could have 3 Ozeki by the end of this tournament. I just think our winner is going to be Hoshoryu. I have been predicting a leap from him for the past year or so, and this could be the tournament where he bumps up to 12 or 13 wins and gets that first Yusho. Thank you for joining us here on the Dohyo. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. That just tells the YouTube algorithms that people love the Dohyo and more people will get to share in the Dohyo love. Do stay tuned to the channel because we are going to be doing our quick strikes mid-basho to figure out what's going on with all of the amazing hot basho action. And also we will have our July recap after it's all over and you're not going to want to miss that. So everyone, stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and I will see you next time on the Dohyo.